I'm sorry, but don't wanna talk. I need a moment before I go. It's nothing personal. I draw the blinds. They don't need to see me cry. Cause even if they understand, they don't understand. So then when I'm finished, I'm all about my business and ready to save the world. I'm taking my misery,
For credit card spending, I will spend on first travel with my family. So during the vacation, all expenses is used by the credit card. Next, I will go shopping to shopping mall. It is because when we go to shopping mall and most of things at the shopping malls is quite expensive and branded, so we just use the credit card. And lastly is buying new furniture from overseas, because when we use the credit card, we do not have to bring too much cash on ourselves. Next is debit card spending. Alright, for debit card spending, firstly, I'll spend on daily expenses, which is I will buy groceries at supermarket, and so I do not have to bring cash. Next is weekly expenses, where I will eating out with my family at the fancy restaurant during weekend. And lastly is monthly expenses, where I will buy new clothing at boutique. For investment, I choose medical insurance and investment in ASNB. For medical insurance, we choose medical insurance that reach cost to 500,000 for our entire life. Advantages. First, insurance can cover most of the hospital bill when someone who has survived in a serious injury have to do an operation. Next, insurance during illness and emergency. For example, when someone got a heart attack during working hour, insurance can cover their hospital costs when someone in hospital. And lastly, insurance can encourage savings for those who has never have their own savings account. Investment in ASNB that costs 10,000 ringgit for 10 years. Advantages. First, diversified portfolio investment that help to reduce risk, such as ASNB and ASNB2. Next, it has professional and experienced management, since they have a professional manager at their office. And lastly is affordable, since their principal needed to participate is just 1 ringgit Malaysia. For disadvantages, first, dividend that received by the investors is lower than that has invest. It is because they have they has lower principles compared to other insurance. Next, income decrease for those who have lowest profit income, because they have to pay for the investment first. And lastly, they have a slow system because they have many customers to handle. Daily life necessity. Food expenses such as groceries, and daily expenses such as fuel. For additional income, receive pension money and start a business to increase income. Health and insurance. First, medical insurance that cover hospital bill, and life insurance and help family to survive after someone's death. For travel and other one-time spending, first, Haji and Umrah, travel every year, and buy their own house.
There are 3 plans of estate planning during life. Firstly, home. For example, I will change my name of the owner of the house to my spouse. And secondly, car. For example, I will give my car to my children after she or he further their study to university. And lastly, jewelry. I want to buy all types of the jewelry, such as necklace, ring, and earring. Next, there are 3 plans of estate planning after death. Firstly, life insurance. For example, my family will get the compensation from the insurance company after I die. And secondly, land. For example, my family can stay at the home that I built on the land after I die. And lastly, education fund. For example, my children or my grandchildren can use this fund to further their studies after I die. 5 types of assets to be obtained during life. Firstly, home. Secondly, land. Thirdly, car. Fourthly, jewelry. And lastly, insurance. Okay, now we move to the 5 financial challenge for family expenditure. Firstly, carrying too much debt, like car loan and house loan. Secondly, cost of healthcare is high. For example, my family needs to go to the hospital every 2 to 3 months to do a medical checkup. Thirdly, children education fees is high. For example, my children will study in the university need to buy a textbook that costs almost 100 ringgit for one subject. And fourthly, the cost of parents and childcare are high. And lastly, little or no savings. It is because I need to pay a lot of things like utilities bills and car loans. Okay, now we'll move to the 5 financial challenge for long-term obligation. First, lost a job. Second, not enough income. Third, high interest rate. Fourth, high cost of living. And lastly, medical cost is high. Next, 5 financial challenge for investment expenditure. Okay, firstly, the insurance might not cover all the costs. It is because it depends on the package that you get. Secondly, might get lost from the investment share. It is because the dividend that we get every year is depends on the profit or loss that the company we invest. Thirdly, the price for investment in the properties keep increasing. Fourth, not saving enough money. It is because due to the current economy, we can only depend on the gross salary. And lastly, the price for personal financial advisor for investment is high. And lastly, 5 financial challenge for retirement expenditure. First, loan debt. Second, debt for doctor's car. Thirdly, unforeseen needs for the family members. Most of the retired found themselves helping their family members like their parents and their siblings. Fourth, unexpected bills. And lastly, change in the housing needs. The retired may want to change their life, like to live in the assisted living or independent living in the retirement community.